What's up guys, Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency update. I'm really excited to do this video in particular today. As always, I appreciate all that like, share, and subscribe. We are going to be talking about, is XRP really a scam? And if so, what would be the case? Which is more likely to happen? XRP to go to zero and fade away into oblivion and Ripple to become a successful company or fail altogether? Or XRP to actually succeed and become one of the main means of liquidity in this new financial ecosystem? So, without further ado, let's get into it. I have no need to try to convert anybody that does not have the emotional maturity to entertain both sides fully. As Aristotle says, it's the sign of a truly intelligent mind to entertain an idea fully without fully accepting it. So those are the people that I love talking with. If you disagree, that is completely fine. Just let me know your thoughts down below and let's try to keep it mature. Whether you believe that Bitcoin and the whole anarchist view and controlling your money and funds is the true answer as a store of value, I wish you well. I am just here to make money as a utility maximalist. I see that XRP is already live in billion-dollar payment flows, and I already know the witty retort that people will give back saying, well, look at the price action, look at the price appreciation in the past 2 years. And yes, I do have responses to all of that. I am in the long game. I am here to obviously take part in the internet of value, and I understand what this asset is, and I know what I hold. So let's just kind of go through a little bit about Ripple and the XRP ecosystem, and let's just kind of weigh in where we think that XRP could survive or go to zero, because gambling is one thing. But when you gamble and you apply information and knowledge to that, that is much more like investing. And that is what I consider me doing. Once again, none of this is financial advice. Do your own research, listen to who you want, think for yourselves, and I'll do the same. So to kick things off, on xrparcade.com, I believe they do run an XRP validator. This is a great website. If you come here and in the top right, you can click search and you can type in Ripple Timeline. Just something I want to touch on. I know many have done videos on this in the past. I'll be brief going through this. I just want to show you where they started from. Keep in mind, Bitcoin is one thing, and it was, yes, proof of work as we know. But the XRP Ledger was the first distributed consensus network to step outside of proof of work and utilize proof of correctness, proof of consensus, period. And it is far superior in terms of what the World Economic Forum wants, the 1% of the 1% in terms of energy consumption, 1,000 times faster than Bitcoin, 1,000 times cheaper than Bitcoin. Just as the internet was created and it started from a top-down approach, a few universities, then some businesses, and then eventually after applications and everything took part, everyday people started utilizing the internet and, a variety of operating systems. This is what Ripple is doing. They truly want to do this and go the same routes. Bitcoin, and yes, I love Bitcoin. I love the message. I'm so grateful for what it has done for the attention of this market and this whole transfer of wealth. And I think it does have a place in this ecosystem. It was trying to do the bottom down approach, spread it between everyday people. But unfortunately, with proof of work, it does incentivize a little bit of centralization. So just like Ripple or even other proof of stake ecosystems, they start off centralized with their holdings or maybe their governance, and over time they become more and more distributed or more and more decentralized. That is something I am in. While the majority and the masses think that is going to fail, I wholeheartedly disagree, and that is one of the many reasons why I consider myself a contrarian investor, going against the grain, thinking differently compared to the herd. I do not want to be a typical investor. Okay. So we know 2004 Ripple Pay. Ripple was first idealized in 2004 by Ryan Fugger, who developed the first prototype of Ripple as originally just a decentralized digital monetary system. Okay, next the XRPL first commit, Jed McCaleb, as we know, for the XRP Ledger validator. We have David Schwartz, Arthur Brito. They all created the XRP Ledger in 2011, and then XRP was actually created first by Arthur Brito in 2012. So we have XRP 8 years strong. Some other assets are only 3 years strong, 5 years strong. We know that XRP does have better liquidity compared to the majority of assets and a variety of on and off ramps as well. Yes, there are plenty of conspiracies to go with this. I'm not going to go into those. Do I entertain them? Yes. Do I think there is something more that we are missing? Yes, I wholeheartedly do. But even if any conspiracy or every conspiracy was false, I still am 100% certain in the future of XRP as one of the mediums or bridge assets in the future of the internet of value. So let's kind of go through this. And I really want to know, it's just a brain exercise, what is more likely? Do you really think that XRP going this strong, has a market capitalization of 10.5 billion, is going to fade away into oblivion? Even Mark Cuban says that once a specific asset or asset class surpasses 1 billion, which is relatively small in terms of market capitalization, market valuation, that is here to stay. And XRP is already in live payment flows. The infrastructure is building. They've had hundreds of millions of dollars of funding. The typical investor or the typical FUD or Forbes contributor that just wants to write dramatic articles for clicks and says Ripple is dumping XRP. You can go through the math and understand. You can even see Jed McCaleb, and you can see the selling pressure that he's inflicting on the XRP Ledger. You can go through all of that and see the numbers for yourselves. But the typical Bitcoin maximalist just does not want to acknowledge what is at play here. I think this is much bigger than just XRP as being a currency and us making money, or any other asset for that matter. They are building assets. They are building protocols to win on a level playing field, agnostic. They want the best cryptos to win, the best networks to win, period. Just like the internet was founded. And if you are afraid of winning on a level playing field, which is based upon cold hard math and, just overall efficacy of the system, that means that you're afraid that you wouldn't be able to win on your own, period. So if you have to shove Bitcoin down someone's throat or XRP down someone's throat to utilize it, that's not the way I'm about, okay? I'm looking at the businesses that are already solving and saving real money for remittance, initially starting off in a very small vertical, just focusing with on-demand liquidity for these ecosystems or payment pairs that are highly inefficient today, thanks to the existing correspondent banking network. Taking 3 to 5 days to send a payment, there is a 6% error rate. 6% of the time, your payment never gets to the destination because Swift's correspondent banking network is so inefficient and clunky. That is astounding, considering that we can text, we can call, we can email, and none of those typically fail. That is information. Welcome to Internet of Value. All right, this is on the back end for interbank settlement between the central banks of the world. Funny enough, Ripple, a company that came out relatively early, 7-8 years ago, has already been meeting with, obviously, the Federal Reserve, the Bank of International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund. The World Bank has praised XRapid. Now today it is ODL, on-demand liquidity, that utilizes XRP. This is not coincidental. They have been educating some of the central banks, some of the regulators from its inception. This company is going to be a behemoth. Keep in mind, Swift's former CEO, Godfrey Lebrant, referred to them as the true Goliath of this ecosystem. And yes, I know the story, Goliath dies to David. That is not what I'm getting at. All right, so we're going to do some analogies and show you what is really at hand here. And please, I recommend, even if you don't care or you're actually just curious for XRP, go to XRP Arcade, go through some of this information. You will definitely learn a lot. Everything is sourced as well. And Leonidas, the creator of this website, does a phenomenal job. All right, talking about the funding funding rounds. As we know, even OpenCoin, co-founder of PayPal, Peter Thiel, by no coincidence has taken place in this. We have connections to, of course, Andreessen Horowitz, Tim Draper. We can talk about Lightspeed Ventures. It goes incredibly deep. There's no coincidences in the space. We have advisors with backgrounds of the IMF, the BIS, the Federal Reserve. Should be no surprise. Why? Because they're working on the system. Notice, Chris Larson, Bitcoin is focused more on the currency and less on the payment system. So really, Bitcoin is trying to solve this whole financial system from the outside. And Ripple said, that's a great idea in theory, but I think that we should just work with the system and try to better it. And guess what? Neither are easy tasks, and yes, it takes time. But do I believe in obviously life-changing wealth if any of these assets are successful? Absolutely. There's no in-between, in my opinion. It is zero or hero. So just going through here, I recommend looking at the timeline, looking at the caliber of people. You can see these penalties, the funding, just like any other crypto asset, getting fines, as we can see. And Ripple, funny enough, they create this protocol, Interledger protocol, all about level playing field agnostic. They give it to the group that governs the entire internet, the World Wide Web Consortium, and they develop the standards for the internet. Interesting. And yes, IOP and XRP are known as the secret sauce. Cool thing about XRP and the XRP Ledger, yes, they have a decentralized DEX or exchange on top of it. They can send any other asset on top of it, so they interoperate with Bitcoin. You can actually send Bitcoin over the XRP Ledger faster than if you were to send Bitcoin. Pretty crazy, right? Well, they're almost building a system where they want Bitcoin to do well. They want Ethereum to do well. They want all these assets to do well. Don't even get me started on Flare networks now in the trustless manner of executing smart contracts to essentially be just or cheaper than Ethereum, more scalable, etc., without any of the downside that XRP has in terms of settlements. It goes incredibly deep, and to me it is just a no-brainer. And yes, I am running out of patience. I'm sick of waiting, but I really think that we are entering the time where things will get interesting. And as you know, I think it's going to be a bumpy ride, but let's just watch the coming weeks of regulations, the storm and manipulation, suppression of these assets. Why do I kind of like seeing these assets massively suppressed? Why? Because there's a reason they're suppressing them, because inherently they are going to have a large future value. That is my belief, all right? So to each their own. Talking about the BIT license, we can talk about their connections with Ripple, the regulators that are even on their board or even advisors that have left companies. We can talk about even Ripple employees that have left and taken positions at the Fed, at the International Monetary Fund. It is unbelievable. It's a game of chess. Notice Ripple's funding. You can talk about the committee. You can talk about SBI holding a huge portion of, obviously, shares of Ripple and R3. I think that these assets, they're going to be complementary. Ripple's on-demand liquidity, low value, high volume. R3 potentially with Corda. Many don't believe they will ever use XRP. I think there is a chance, provided XRP increases liquidity. The Swift GPI integrations with R3 were not for fun. There is a bigger plan at play here, and the world of capital finance has even more money and volume moving through it. And if you do not understand the players that are integrated with Ripple through a single API, which means with this software, they have the option to use XRP today. That is extremely powerful, okay? And they're suing each other for XRP at a discount. Why did R3, the Lehman, the Lehman boys, the Wall Street boys, why do they all want XRP at a discount? Why do they want to have it on the side? And why was XRP the first asset named to be able to settle via Corda? Even though it can settle others because it's agnostic, just like any great protocol that's going to win in the future, why was XRP named first? Interesting. All right. Notice when they passed 100 direct customers, they passed 200 customers, they locked a portion up in escrow. They have Spring Initiative building out instead of just ODL, working on different initiatives and building SDKs for gamers and other verticals, working on web monetization, streaming of payments. It goes incredibly deep, and they said that they're not going to expand that until they have the rest locked in. It's my belief that they are really working on something much bigger than we imagine. Could I be wrong? Yes. But just keep that in mind. There's investors, money transfer businesses, money service businesses, banks, some of the biggest banks. They just signed one of the largest private banks in India. Amidst all this chaos and drama that India is going to ban cryptocurrency trading, can you guys read between the lines? Can you see the connections, the chess players? Can you see even Brian Brooks, acting comptroller of the United States currency, of literally the banking system, allowed them to hold and custody digital assets? If you guys understand who PolySign is, created by the same man that created XRP, Arthur Brito, the man, the myth, the legend, the ghost. I do not know what to tell you. This is also evidence. When I see silly comments or I see YouTubers bashing XRP, I honestly, I don't really watch it, but I just roll my eyes because it just shows, yes, they're smart people, but they've been fed something incorrectly without doing their own research. They watched one video, they read one article, and it sticks into their mind instead of staying open-minded and doing their own research, okay? Now, I'm far from perfect, but that is just one example. Notice XRP Ledger Decentralization controls less than 50% of the XRP Ledger's unique node list. This was in another example of becoming distributed over time. It doesn't happen overnight. They're not just going to give people XRP away or have everyone, add their validator to the unique node list. That is silly. It is taking time. It is based off of trust. RippleNet is more so a little bit permissioned, and then XRPL is connected to it, and this is open and permissionless. This is so powerful, guys. If you can read between the lines correctly, you are going to be literally wealthy for life, generational wealth, period. And that's just my belief, okay? So OnDemand Liquidity went live. This specifically uses XRP in its payment flows. Now, 200 customers have been announced. Invests in MoneyGram. They have about a 10% stake in the second largest money service business in the world. I'm sure that XRP is just a scam, even though the CEO of MoneyGram, Alex Holmes, loves XRP. And yes, I'm sure he has some non-disclosure agreements and can't discuss too much, but man, has he said some great things. Okay? Right here, XRP Ledger, 50 million ledgers closed without a single issue. Today we're at least 55 million plus. This is a fun fact. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they've all had 51% attacks. There's been issues. There's been, sending issues. The XRP Ledger, guys, and keep in mind, this is going 8 years strong, has never had a single error in terms of actually processing a ledger, successfully closing it. Well, that sure sounds like something that banks would adopt. Nothing. They've been testing it. Some of the biggest banks in the world have actually tested and trialed XRP with some of the biggest technology providers, and we'll go through them as well. Wow, that sure sounds like XRP has a decent chance for success. Yeah, to me too. Yet there's people that think XRP is going to go to zero, and they think Ripple is merely just using XRP to fund them so that they can become just a big payments company. No, again, Ripple is a payments company that utilizes blockchain infrastructure to get ahead of this market and at least chip away at Swift, whether you think they're going to disrupt them or enable them. Guess what they have to do? Make XRP liquid, because it eliminates the pre-funded accounts. All of these competitors that are called XRP killers you're seeing in the world of finance today, RTGS Global, Swift GPI, even the UBS, the utility settlement token, none of them can compete with XRP. We are years ahead. This is a behemoth. They are not going away. Could there be other players that gets market share of what XRP is going after? Yes, absolutely, and there most likely will. There are many players in this space. There's many verticals. It goes beyond just remittance. It goes to derivatives. It goes to so many things. Cross-border payments is a $155 trillion market alone, and that's just one example. Notice, 300 customers. Now, if you're smart and you understand that some of these customers and some of these partners are some of the biggest groups in the world, like Finastra, they have 9,000 partners right there. So Ripple's partner has 9,000 partners. Wow, the power of network effects. And they're already partnered with, of the top 50 banks in the world, Finastra, RippleNet enabled, ODL enabled, as the top 48 of the banks in the world. Wow, well, top 48 of the top 50. Notice patent infringements, everything just going on. Lawsuits, I just love it. The ISO migration. Why did Ripple join the ISO board for Swift and become the first member focused on distributed ledger tech? It doesn't take a genius, I promise. Migrating towards the cloud, single API, utilizing Amazon logos in the past. Typically, you need permission to do so. Pay ID, winning, working with this open payments coalition to allow any asset, any company, any network to succeed. XRP, Ripple, they're so confident, it's not even funny. Yes, there's going to be more than one winner. It will not just be XRP, and I wish you well if you are diversifying into other altcoins. Hopefully, you can understand that XRP, regardless of your beliefs, even if you think it's centralized or whatever, and you like some other asset because it speaks to your heart like Bitcoin, that's fine. But to absolutely discount XRP from this race, you have to be extremely misled, okay? Now, right here, so XRP Arcade, you guys can go to any of these websites. That's absolutely phenomenal. He's put some hard work in. So let me show you this. The XRP ecosystem alone. Notice, well-known companies, applications, wallets, investors. It goes incredibly deep. Notice, hosting, ETPs, wallets, applications, micropayments, custody, gaming, microchips. And yes, they've created their own chip nowadays, but just showing you, they're everywhere. On-demand liquidity exchanges and Bitso throughout Latin America, helping everyday people and families send money. Marketplaces, travel agencies, even places that accept XRP and Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other assets. I am not only a bull on XRP, I'm a bull on cryptocurrency, specifically the ones that are working with regulators and changing the game. Literally just trying to enable a more friendly ecosystem to make it easier for all of us. I'm a utility maximalist. If it solves the problem, awesome. I'm on its side and I own it. And yes, I do have a little Bitcoin. I typically try to sell most of it. I own Ethereum, so I'm not on anybody's side, but to completely discount XRP, you are extremely myopic in your viewpoint. You're extremely narrow-minded. Okay, marketplaces, wallets, cards, banks. You can look at all of this. Remember, what was his name? Grant Bright, maybe, of EuroXM, loves XRP, goes over it. These are gentlemen that have had years, decades in the financial ecosystem. Wealth managers, it's not a coincidence. For God's sake, the guy that even wrote the Ripple valuation framework for XRP, quoting, yeah, like with this market share, XRP would be $6 to $32 with Susan Athey, is now the lead of blockchain at BlackRock. BlackRock, yes, multi-trillion dollars there. Yes. Okay, Susan Athey, Bilderberg Group. I mean, you can talk about conspiracies. Without conspiracies, I still believe in XRP. That's why it's just so crazy to think. And why are we still sitting at 23 cents, 30 cents, 20 cents. Is there a bigger plan at play? Are they going to suppress it even more before going? Is it that Ripple's almost going after even more market share than we thought, and it will be a little bigger jump? Who knows? I just want to entertain those thoughts, okay? I have no problem with people being very conservative with their estimates, and I have no problem with people, screaming moon options and price predictions. At the end of the day, I believe what I want and you believe what you want, and I just understand that XRP is undervalued currently. And yes, I think that all-time high is a drop in the bucket. Yes, I think $10 is even a drop in the bucket for this ecosystem. You guys understand XRP is a freaking black hole. When it starts sucking in value, becoming more liquid, it is a snowball down a hill. It's absolutely insane. Crypto Eddie did a phenomenal video reviewing what David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, did, and he talked about specifically the algorithmic stablecoins. Stablecoins based off of math. They're not based off trust anymore. This is the future. Cold, hard math. Just scrolling through this all just so you guys can take a look. So quite a wide array for the XRP ecosystem. Now let's actually look at other blockchain companies, money transfer businesses. Let's take a look at Ripple's ecosystem. Some of the biggest banks and universities. Top-down approach. Universities, as we can see, associations, investors, and not small investors, I might add. CME Ventures. CRCM Ventures, Pantera Capital. It's all right in front of us. Some of the biggest banks. These are not small players. ODL exchanges, which specifically use XRP. We have technology providers. Temenos, Task Gateway, all of these, or Task Group, they're integrated with the Euro systems, with the central banks. Do you understand how many trillions of dollars that is, and what even just a micro portion, 1% to 0.1% of that volume would do to existing XRP order books? Push it up. And yeah, there'd be net overlap for the transactions. What does that do? Increases demand because the supply is more scarce. And what does that do? Pushes price up. And what is consistent payment through that 24/7, 365? Because that's what DLT promises. Consistency, so it creates higher highs that stay at that price. Interesting. And continuously go up until they attain price discovery. Volante, they integrated with XRP. They are part of the clearinghouse for the United States domestic payment systems. CGI with their intelligent gateway. SAP helped Reese Bank and ATB actually send XRP to and from. I can't even, Task Group right there with the Euro system. We can talk about SmartStream, Synchron, XRP Labs. I've seen some news on Airwallex, American Express, even with China with Lian. Indirect connections, yes, to Alipay and all the other groups, and whether or not you believe that they will utilize XRP, I'm just showing that we are connected to these rails, showing that money will still move through this ecosystem eventually, whether it goes from them or their partners. Mobile networks, money transfer businesses. Mercury FX was one of the first users of XRP. Money Match, Malaysia. I just don't get how someone, well, I guess I do. It just means they haven't done the research. And I am obsessive. I've looked into these groups. You have the links, the home pages. You can do all of your own research. You won't need YouTube. You don't need me. You can look into all of this. I just know that sometimes YouTube is a good medium for people that are commuting to work, and they just appreciate short and sweet. Any YouTube video I watch on 2x playback speed, just because I feel like everything is so slow. All right, right here, consulting firms, banks. And yes, you've heard of Rack Bank, again, PNC as well, one of Ripple's first members of the US. I don't know what to tell you guys. And I probably said that 30 million times in this video. ACI Worldwide, they process how much? $14 trillion per day. That's 5 seconds that's $5 million transferred as fast as you can snap your finger consistently. And that was actually from an ACI employee talking about the payments today. And yes, they're integrated with Ripple. We can talk about Earthport, which integrated with Ripple. Visa acquired them. We have connections to MasterCard for even the XRP ecosystem. It just goes incredibly deep. We have Circle, yes, with Coinbase and all their connections as well. I'm just going to keep going. So hopefully this video isn't like an hour long. Forte for gamers, other verticals, Agoric as well for Spring, Algorand and derivatives market attacking the $700 trillion derivatives market, and obviously future swaps, commodities, corn, precious metals, oil, all of that can be transferred over the XRP Ledger because it's permissionless. The ability to scale to the same throughput as Visa today. It goes incredibly deep. All right, just still speeding through this. Financial platforms, financial services, softwares. Look at all this. I just don't see the need for anybody that rolls their eyes and doesn't think that XRP will be used. Oh, because it stayed at that price for so long? Well, what did Amazon do? Do you remember all the articles? You can watch and go back to news videos of literally CNBC and other groups saying Amazon and Apple are internet companies, so they are what we call volatile. They're not going to do well. They're too risky. They might go to zero. It chased all the people out. And what happened? Amazon skyrocketed later on, but it took a while. And guess what? Ripple has been going for a while. We've been going 8 years strong. So I think when it happens, it's going to happen faster than we think. What did Christine Lagarde say? In economics, she said this specifically. I showed it in a video recently. Christine Lagarde, formerly director of the International Monetary Fund, loves Ripple, knows Brad Garlinghouse. Yes, they've talked, discussed, etc. Should be no surprise. She is now the president of the ECB, the European Central Bank. What did she say? In economics, things take longer than we think they will. And when they happen faster than we think. Mind blown. Right here, Ripple, which uses cryptocurrency for cross-border payments, is now valued at $10 billion. This was December of 2019. Okay, so we have this company, one of the highest valued private companies that come out of Silicon Valley as a fintech, a financial technology firm. We have other groups like Coinbase making a killing, and even other fintech firms like Circle, and they're all doing well. They have vested interests in other ecosystems like Securitize. That's Coinbase and Ripple have vested interests there. They want these ecosystems to thrive. This is so evident. Yes, there's competition. Yes, there's also cooperation. There is co-opetition, a combination of these. All right, right here, Ripple aims to become the Amazon of payments, says CEO. Yes, I believe this. Just like Amazon, right here, started as a bookseller and only sold books. They stuck to one thing they knew, and they wanted to do it really, really well. They have to start with just payments. So we just start with payments, maybe just focusing on a liquid corridors with on-demand liquidity, helping mitigate those costs so it's not so expensive. So there's not 10% fees for people that cannot afford it and need to send money home in the UAE, through Mexico, through Southeast Asia. All right? Notice then Amazon started expanding, selling everything you can even fathom with e-commerce. You see the CAGR, the rates of growth and expected growth of Amazon. And yes, they are a behemoth for a reason. They taught how to scale. They were right from the get-go. And that is exactly what Ripple has been working on. If you want to build a freaking skyscraper, what do? You build the strongest, most sound foundation you ever can before you begin building. That's what exactly the XRP ecosystem has been doing. Working with regulators. You can't regulate what you can't define. It's so sneaky and obvious that they are going to be a true contender in this space. And it's funny because all of us, oh, I've held it for a few years. Oh, I lost some money. Maybe this is just a bubble. Maybe I'll just give up. I'm not going anywhere. I know what's to come, and I know what I'm holding. Keep that in mind. So with just their little payments, they can expand to lending, syndicated lending, group lending, which creates additional demand. We can talk about holding XRP in reserve for these stablecoins that run on top of them with banking. There are no coincidences in this space. Just please understand what you hold. I just wanted to do kind of a long dragged out video on this as a pep talk because we are coming out of this bear market. And yes, it has been a wild ride, but we keep going through the storm and we stay afloat no matter what. All right, this is what the XRP community is. You know, I don't like to call it the XRP army. I think that's too tribalist. It's silly to me. We are a community. Imagine what we could accomplish if we all worked together and actually helped other projects, helped other ecosystems, work together with other, companies, influencers, community members, bloggers. Like, let's just all work together and drive this innovation and be the change we want to see in this world. Instead of fighting on whose technology is better, let's just put it all out there and innovate. Let the builders build, and let's kind of try to be a positive influence in this space. All right? We already talked about that. Peter Thiel. I just want to see where else. I'm MIT Review. Even right here, XRP Crypto Wolf, great guy to follow in this ecosystem on Twitter. This is just a mere example. He's been posting probably dozens these past 2 months of Ripple, the company, hiring and hiring and hiring, whereas other people are letting people go. This company seems to be expanding. And yes, I do know that there were some let goes across the board for every company for that matter, but this is not the sign of a company that is about to give up or disappear anytime soon. If you really think that Ripple's going to disappear, I don't know what to tell you. And I know there's so many people that are still going to watch this video and they're going to say, Oh, Ripple, yeah, Ripple's a great company, but XRP is a banker's coin. It's a scam coin. They have no understanding of the tokenomics. The only argument they can make is based off of supply. They do not understand the correspondent banking network. They might understand Bitcoin really well, but they have not looked into banking. They have not looked into the payments ecosystem. They're merely looking and standing and looking in a dark room, and they're only seeing from their flashlight. There is a whole amount of information and space behind you to look. All right. So I don't want to pretend I know everything, but I'd like to think that I can see a smart investment opportunity or a smart company that is clearly successful and have been working with regulators and building a foundation, and their advisors, their board of directors, their connections speak for themselves. Please just go on LinkedIn and play the game of chess and look where all their, where everyone's going. I know we reference a lot of these employees, but it is extremely powerful. Also, so you know what? You guys tell me, what is more likely? XRP to fade away to oblivion, or as Ripple and all these other ecosystems that are building upon it become more successful, XRP starts developing that liquidity. Whether it's overnight and it is quick and XRP explodes, or it is slow and steady, I don't care. I hold XRP. I'm going to win. You're going to win either way. Let me know your thoughts. Also, it is really funny in the space how the people that work hard consistently day in and day out are often the same ones accused of being lucky when it happens. We are not lucky. We endured this for several years. We've been here. We've been researching day in and day out. We are earning it every day and every minute. So with that, guys, I appreciate it. Please share this video around. Lots of love and have a great rest of your day.